The Sibo series is written and narrated by Jenny Stone, published by Let's Look Publishers. There are currently 16 titles in the series, and they're all available from Let's Look Publishers in South Africa. Sibo Saves Water by Jenny Stone. Chapter 1. Sibo Wonders About Water. Sibo got out of the bath one day and was watching as the water was draining away. There was quite a lot, 'cause she liked a full tub, put the towel on her head, and then started to rub. She pondered as she heard the water flow. I wonder where on earth it's going to go. It all just gargles down the drain, but will it ever be used again? Where does it come from? Where has it been? It arrives in a pipe that cannot be seen. And, more important, is there enough of this very precious life-giving stuff? Sibo remembered teacher's words at school. The earthman looked funny, but he wasn't a fool. Some places in the world had rain by the ton, and other countries were getting none. "But what about us?" Sibo said with a yelp. "I must find out. Dad will give me some help. I can use his computer, check out some stuff. The World Wide Web will have more than enough." Her mother and father were in the good room, watching the news, all doom and gloom. "Dad," she said sweetly, "may I use your PC? And when you're finished, please come and help me." "Not now," said her mum, shaking her head. "It's almost time you were going to bed. Is all your work finished? Are your toys put away? Oh, no, young lady, this is no time to play." Sibo wondered briefly if she should try telling her mother a little white lie, say she needed the PC for work that she had, but then she decided that fibbing was bad. Said Dad, "What help did you want, my daughter?" She replied, "I need to know more about water. Where does it come from, and where does it go? These are just some of the things I've got to know." "Your mother is right. It's now time for bed. But I tell you what," he quietly said, "I'll find you some info and print it all out. Now off to your room. There's no need to pout." "Okay, but before I go I have one thing to say. Rain falls free from the clouds, so why do we pay?" "Because," her dad sighed, "it has to get clean. Would you want to bath in water that's green?" And so Sibo began to find out a bit more on the vital subject of the world's water store. What she learned gave her quite a big scare, millions of people demanding their share. Rain falls from the clouds and onto high ground. Then it runs into rivers and streams all around. They feed into the sea, and after a wait, the sun makes the water evaporate. Next come the winds that are cool and strong. They send all the clouds scudding quickly along, up and away to the high mountain tops, getting so heavy that all the water drops. "Right," thought Sibo, "this is now clear. But how on earth does the water get here, to our house, to the tap in our kitchen sink, that I can open up and get water to drink?" She went off to the library, and soon she found in some places there's water deep underground, or storage dams built high in the hills, where there's lots of room for fresh streams to fill. Then water that's quite often yucky and brown gets piped to a processing plant near the town. First it gets filtered. There's lots of dirty stuff, bugs, germs, plant specks, and even some fluff. It gets a big dose of chemicals too, so that by the time that it reaches you, it's sparkly clean and ready to drink when you fill up a glass from the tap in the sink. After the water all goes down the drain, it's piped off to a sewerage plant again. It gets treated with things to make it dirt-free, and by using our rivers gets back to the sea. "Wow," thought Sibo, "it sure makes you think why we should never throw gunk down the sink, and it's no wonder at all that we must pay for the water we take for granted each day." Chapter 2. Sibo starts to save water. Sibo's mission now was to save water too. She realized that there was much she could do, but sometimes it made her think once or twice, because actually doing it was not always nice. She loved to wallow in a deep bath each night. If she worked with her veggies, she looked quite a sight, grubby all over with brown bits and green. It was such a delight to get fresh and clean. "What a bummer!" sighed Sibo. "I'll have to stop filling the bathtub right up to the top. Or perhaps I'll have to show some will power, and instead of a bath, take a very short shower." Mum was sorting the washing, the colours from white, about to switch on the washer when she got a big fright. "Don't turn on the machine!" Sibo yelled out in haste. "Doing just half a load is a terrible waste. It not only wastes water, but electricity too. Wait for it to fill up. That's what you must do." Her mother went still, then slowly turned round, looking daggers at Sibo, not making a sound. She stared at Sibo. She was really quite miffed. "You're a pain in the neck," she said, and she sniffed. "You make me want to tear out my hair. If I don't do this washing, you'll have no socks to wear." "Oh, that's not a problem. I'll wear stockings instead. Mum, please leave all of your hair on your head. My aim is not to drive you insane, but it's bad to let water waste down the drain." Mum insisted. "Go on, catch the water outside. There's a bucket here that's big and quite wide. It won't go down the drain, but maybe instead you can use it for watering the veggie bed." Sibyl groaned out loud in complete dismay. She could not use this water, the books called grey, on anything to eat that grew on the land, because soaps and detergents had to be banned. Her mother then snapped. "I suggest what you do is water those plants with the flowers in blue." "Okay," muttered Sibyl. "One bucket won't hurt, but that nasty soap will seep into the dirt." With bucket in drain, Sibyl went to find Dad. Making Mum angry always made her feel sad, but the thing she found out gave her a fright. She was only trying to do what was right. Sibyl finally found Dad, who had the hose pipe. "I'm going to wash off my Jeep, then give it a wipe. Can you come and help? I could sure use a hand. We'll clean it together and make it look grand." But his Jeep was still bright, ever so clean, with not a speck of dirt anywhere to be seen. "Hey, Dad," she said, "let's use polish to shine. You know that with elbow grease it always looks fine." Dad put down the hose pipe and gave Sibo a wink. "Ha! I see where you are. I know just how you think. The Earthman explained wasting water's a crime. Well, okay, Sibo daughter, I agree this time. But to polish takes effort and is lots of work, so don't try to vanish, sneak off or shirk. We'll clean up the car, just you and me. Saving water's not easy, as you are going to see." Halfway through, Sibyl went to soap wash her flowers. "Phew!" she thought, "polishing took all my powers." She nipped into the kitchen to get them a drink. To do the right thing is harder than you think. As she walked out the door, Sibyl heard plink. The tap was leaking water, dripping into the sink. "I'll ask Dad to fix it when we're done with the Jeep, but I'll put the plug in the basin so that it can keep." At the end of her chores, then Sibyl could say that trying to save water wasn't the easiest way. She wished to bathe with bubbles galore, but this was a thing she could do no more. Instead, she had a shower that was brisk and hot. "Oh, the things I do to stop the world from going to pot! I wish the whole human race thought just like me. Then the difference would be very easy to see." That night, when she was ready to go off to bed, Dad gave her a hug and gently kissed her head. He said, "Sibyl, I'm proud of you, my daughter, doing a great job, saving lots of water." Chapter 3. Wetlands, Soggy but Super. Sibyl said, "It's my birthday soon. I've Good idea. I could have my party at those wetlands quite near. It's something very different. Think how great it would be. There's so much to investigate and lots to see. We could also take a picnic with nice party stuff. I'll ask Wayne to come too. One friend is enough. Or if thoughts of a picnic don't put us in the mood, on the way to the wetlands we can stop for some junk food. Mum moaned that wetlands are marshy and soggy. Who would ever want to party where it's all boggy? Let's go to the mall, watch a movie too, have some ice cream, try some flavours new. Oh, Mum, said Sibo sadly, in some ways you are right. Though they can be soggy, they are quite a stunning sight. There are loads of plants that grow there, lots of bird life too. I read there is a bird hide where you can sit quietly and view. Most people never realize how important wetlands are and think they should be developed and covered up with tar. That's one of the biggest problems with the human race. Seems they need to gobble up every single space. The wetlands filter water, and because it stands around, it takes quite a long time to sink into the ground. The types of plants that grow there use up the chemicals too. They absorb them from the water and make it clean for you. It's really most amazing how the system works. Underground water gets replenished, yet another of the perks. As the streams and swamps become all clear, the fish in the ponds then have nothing to fear. Sybil's mum groaned and made a face. I guess I'm just one of the human race who thinks that wetlands should all be tar. The birds can move, they don't have to go far. I've thought of a plan, she said with a sigh. We'll go to the mall, just you and I, and your dad can take you to the bogs. You can share your picnic with the frogs. Oh, Mum, said Sibo, that's a great idea. I've known for a while that you have a fear of creepy crawlies and things that rustle. You much prefer town's hustle and bustle. So Sibo got her way. She was in luck. Dad quickly agreed and the deal was struck. She invited Wayne for next Saturday. His mother said, yes, that would be okay. The day arrived at last, bright and sunny. Wayne pitched up. He looked quite funny. He wore jeans tucked into welly boots. Sybil said, I'll get wet feet. I couldn't give two hoots. Dad spoke up and said, I think, my daughter, you'll find signs that say don't go in the water. It would disturb the animals and damage the roots. So, Wayne, my boy, you won't need those boots. He said, I'll take them off, that's what I'll do. It's no problem, I've got trainers too. I've never ever been to a place like this. I have lots of stuff. It will be bliss. Mum gave them a backpack with goodies to eat. It was Sybil's birthday, and she'd made such a treat. She slapped sunscreen on them. They didn't make a peep, and checked all had hats on as they climbed into the Jeep. Dad had done his homework, and he knew just where to go. They got onto the highway and joined the traffic flow. I've got pen and paper. We can write down what we see, Wayne said to Sibo when we reached the sanctuary. They arrived at the wetlands. Didn't even have to pay. Oh, wow, that's nice, yelped Sibo. They know it's my birthday. Actually, said Dad, I think it's always free. He drove into the car park and found a shady tree. They explored the lands together and saw amazing things, like long-tailed birds with fancy-coloured wings. Delicate lilies floated next to the weeds, and bulrushes grew among bendy reeds. The water was clear like a garden pond. Goodness me, said Sibyl, someone's waved a wand. She sniffed the clean air. It was pure delight to spend time walking, enjoying the sight. They were tired but happy when they left the place. Sibyl looked at her father, a huge smile on her face. That was simply awesome, so much better than the mall. But it's sad to think people don't know it at all. Did you know? It's a scary thought, but we are using the same water that the dinosaurs used millions of years ago. How can this be? Easy. The earth recycles its water. Check out the water cycle picture on page 8 and 9 to see how this happens. It's pretty amazing, don't you think? 70% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it? So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that most of this, 97%, is salt water. That leaves only a tiny little bit, only 3%, of fresh water. And that's not all. Of the 3%, less than 1% is available for life on Earth. This is because the rest of it is made up of ice at the North and South poles. Not a lot, is it? That's why our water is very precious. We should respect it and take care of it. Most of all, we should be very careful and not waste it. People use our drinking water not only for drinking, but also for washing, cooking, gardening, flushing toilets, and manufacturing. All the water that goes down the drains gets treated and eventually, after quite a long process, lands up in the rivers and seas. So you see, it is returned to the natural water cycle. Here are some tips on how you can help to save water. Turn off that tap when you brush your teeth. Shower instead of bathing. If you already shower, try having a shorter shower. Use a bucket and soap when you wash your dad's car. Only use the hose to rinse it off, and never leave the hose running. Ask your mom to wash only full loads of laundry wherever possible. Make sure that there aren't any leaky taps in your house, and try and water your garden before 8 o'clock in the morning. This way you reduce evaporation and interference from the wind. I know it doesn't sound much, but if lots of people try and save just a little bit every day, it really does make a huge difference. Remember, you can visit my website, sibo.co.za, if you enjoyed this book, and there are more in the series, so look out for them. Thanks for listening.